Hello and welcome to this episode of Hospitality Talks, where I am joined by JP Ben, who is the founder of Slerp and also Crosstown Donuts. JP, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
We're here today because I think that you have quite an insight into the whole eating at home, dining at home, hospitality at home side of things. Do you want to just give anybody out there a little bit of a background as to the businesses that you're involved with and how they kind of have not become one, but started to interact with each other?
Yeah, sure. It's probably worth me starting with Crosstown. So that's a business that I co-founded back in 2013, so about 7, 8 years ago. And for those that don't know what Crosstown is, it's a sweet treat operator. We do some donuts, ice cream, cookies, and we're quite well known for inventing the sourdough donut. It's got a little X on it. So we started that as a market stall, and over the last 7, 8 years, we've grown into becoming an omni-channel brand with a retail footprint with a number of stores throughout London, market stalls, corporate catering, and quite a fast-growing online business. And really, how that segues into Slerp was, Crosstown's been a very innovative brand. It's been very progressive and quite an early adopter of technology. So much so that actually we were a launch partner with Uber Eats. We were a really early adopter of Deliveroo. And what I felt was that, really customer habits would progress to online. So thinking back, 5, 6 years ago, I really felt that those technologies would shape how we buy. And here we are today, knowing that online ordering is significant. But what I craved as a brand owner was really having control and ensuring that I could transact with customers direct from my website. So the idea of Slerp is really simple, is that we're not a middleman that sits in between the brand and the customer. What we actually are is a B2B service, and we're almost in the background, and we power brands so that they can connect with their customers directly. So long story short, built out a solution for Crosstown back in 2016, started transacting in 2017. And then over the course of, really 3 years, we did thousands of orders, testing, learning, refining, really understanding what the sector would need. And then we launched Slerp to market at the end of 2019. The world changed, as we know, in March, and our word of Slerp started spreading quite significantly across the sector. And we're now still working with hundreds of brands, big and small, powering their online solutions. So yeah, it's been really exciting and quite a crazy 12 months, as we all know, but I still remain very positive about the hospitality sector, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. And I think certainly some of the research that we're doing currently is telling us that people are keen to get back, but they're also keen to continue with the hospitality at home experiences. So I think, it's a real opportunity. I think you and I have used the word earlier, omnichannel, it's something that retail has been really good at. And it's something that hospitality has kind of been thrown in at the deep end, but has learned to swim with very, very quickly. From an operator point of view, what is so different about Slerp? What were the things that weren't right for you with the other platforms that were available out there that you then thought, right, I'm going to solve that problem when I create my own
Sure.
thing?
Yeah, I think obviously we see ourselves as complementary to the marketplaces, so not trying to replace them. It's almost working in parallel with their solutions. I think the main aspect that really hits home to me is, hospitality is about engaging with your customers. That's the nature of the word, right?
Yeah.
And that should be the case for online as well.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have someone who sits in between you and the customer, it takes away that experience. So I think enabling the brand to communicate directly with their customers and own that data and reuse, remarket to them is really, really important. The other big point of difference is the different order types that we have. So the marketplaces are extremely on-demand led. It's like, I want my dinner, I want it now, get it to me. Whereas actually Slerp enables all the different order types. So that could be click and collect, on demand, pre-orders, nationwide delivery.
Mm-hmm.
And that flexibility is really important for different concepts because you can reach basically more customers it doesn't necessarily have to be people local to that restaurant. It could
Mhm.
be people in Greater London or other cities or across the nation. So I think those two things are really fundamental as to why Slurp is quite different to marketplaces.
And I was astounded by a stat that we put out actually sort of May last year or June last year, when we went into the first lockdown way back when, seems like about 10 years ago. um, we we saw that around 9% of people had used any kind of online ordering, takeaway, delivery, etc. app. When we came out of just the first lockdown, let alone then the subsequent ones, that figure was at about 24%. Now that is an amazing growth. What kind of growth are we seeing in the area that Slerp works in?
Yeah, we're seeing recent studies where over a third of the nation has adopted online ordering and will continue to. I think the interesting fact from an operator's perspective is that 95% of operators will continue to use solutions like Slurp post-pandemic. So it's not been a COVID band-aid. I think that's a really important point to get across, is that I think operators now are looking at their businesses and going, how do we become more omni-channel? How do we treat online ordering as a central pillar to their business? Because what the past has told us is that the traditional models do need to adapt, right? It's a tough sector, we know, to make money anyway, but by having different approaches to reach new customers, and online ordering to me is a central pillar to that. So that's really where I think there's been a step change in the last 12 months. I think that will continue. And from what we're seeing at Slerp, we've seen 700% growth in the last 7 months. I don't think that's going to slow down. I think the transactional volume is going to maintain. And what really excites me is talking to other operators and listening to them and hearing that they feel that this is something that they can want to invest in and want to evolve in their business. So I think there's going to be some innovation that continues to happen in a really positive fashion.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And do we think that, so for example, we've had quite a few events that have happened in the various lockdowns, not just my birthday, which of course was incredibly special, but also we have had things like Valentine's Day, we've had New Year's, we had Mother's Day already? Yes, we've had Mother's Day already. What do you think that, not just online ordering, but this whole hospitality at home idea, where do you think that continues to sit in those events and those opportunities?
It's a really good question, because I think the innovative operators are really looking at their marketing calendar and identifying what we call these special days or key moments that they can target, and creating a menu around those limited edition moments is proving really, really successful for operators. So Valentine's weekend, which was last month, there was in the region of 400% growth for that weekend compared to a normal day. Mother's Day was very similar. So I think crafting your menu around these moments, whether it's Easter next and then something for summer, is really core to being innovative online. And that's something that you can't really do on marketplaces. So that's definitely an evolution that will continue to evolve. And I think we'll see strong uptake from customers.
Okay, thank you. I mean, by the way, I agree with absolutely everything you've said, and I've been an advocate for hospitality at home since it first sort of burst onto the scene during lockdown, and we already knew it was happening beforehand, but it wasn't mainstream. It was the people that were in the know got it, and the people that didn't. So just to finish off, then, coming out of the pandemic, what do you think? And if you could answer for Crosstown as much as Slerp, actually, I'd be interested to know, what do you think you've learnt, what's going to change, and what's going to continue for both of those businesses that you're involved in?
Yeah, I think the big learning for Crosstown, which remains an independent business, is that you have to remain nimble, right? You have to listen to your customers. And they were telling us, hey, look, we're not in London at the moment, we've moved out. How do we still buy your product? And that forced us to start doing nationwide delivery, for example.
Right, so it came that way around rather than the
exactly. I think it's listening to the customers, right? We always had this desire to do that. And what the last 12 months has done is just accelerated us making that innovation and progressing things. From a Slerp perspective, I think what's really exciting is just the mentality shift in the sector and really embracing the fact that, at home is here to stay in many senses. And, seeing the innovation on the menu for online ordering is really exciting. And that goes for all the way through from like 5-star hotel groups, Michelin star restaurants to the local independent. And Slerp is tailored for all those different types of operators. So I'm really excited as to seeing how these businesses progress. And as an operator myself, I think it's really positive about what some of these brands are doing to remain at the forefront.
That's fantastic. Thank you, JP. I absolutely love it when we can land on a positive note. Looking forward to the industry continuing to innovate and to interest the customer and excite the customer, whether it's at home or in venue. Thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck with both Crosstown and Slerp.
Thank you very much. Cheers.